I just came here because you said come with coffee, and I love it. I love it. I love just being with your energy, and I love the group. So I'm gonna get right onto that. But anything about book writing, sitting with it and being like, am I really ready to tell this story, or is it just not time? How do you know?
Okay. So the answer, and first of all, I want your permission. May I take your question and put it up on my YouTube channel, because I'm asked this all the time.
I would
So
love
when I
that.
get
Yeah.
ready to teach, that's why I'm recording. Don't worry, I'm not going to record. I'm not throwing everything up on YouTube. It's just if somebody asks me a question and I fall into teacher mode, which is what's going to happen, then I'll put that up there. So am I ready?
Sure.
Should I sit with the book? Am I ready for this message? And then Catherine and Carolyn, I would also love your comments as well. So I'll go first though. The answer is yes. If you are prompted to write, sit down and write the beep book, because there is a reader out there who needs your message. Over and over, we writers have heard of where somebody was saved, transformed, inspired, transmutated, and given a new perspective and a new lease on life from our writing. Okay. So if you're being inspired, you're done sitting with it. You get that keyboard out and you start handing. Now I know I get real passionate. I get up in people's face, but that's why you come to me, because
Right.
I'm that friend that takes off all the varnish and goes, all right, let's talk this, right? So the only reason I'm going PG is because we have an editor. Otherwise, I'd be cussing at this point. Okay. So I just wanted to let you know, if you are being inspired in any way, just start writing. And did you get the link for my writers group, The Right Habit? Because The Right Habit is, we meet twice a month, and every week I say, what are your targets for the week? And Carol
There we go.
Vincini is also a part of that group. And so she can talk to a little bit. But if you're being inspired, the answer is yes, and just start writing. Stephen King, I was lucky enough to see him speak at University of Missouri Columbia back before he was as big as he is now. And when he spoke to our little class, our little writers group, he said he was talking about stream of consciousness writing and how you turn off everything except your word processing point. Okay. And you just type, you don't worry about spelling, you just stream of consciousness. And every writer will tell you the first time they sit down and they write their book, they don't allow anyone to look at it but themselves. Every piece of writing that you present to other people, you've edited once or twice already. Okay, I've gotten to the point where I may edit it once and I ship it out, but that's because I've been writing for a very, very long time. You'll get to a comfort level. So Catherine, will go with you, and then Carolyn, you, and then Carol, I'd like you to bring up the be the rear guard for us. But Catherine, your comments, please.
Test of when you're ready is knowing what the purpose of the book is and who your audience is. So once you have those down, if you can answer those questions really concretely, then I think you're ready to proceed. But definitely in the meantime, go ahead and write stuff down, save it in a file. Don't worry about editing it. Just get all your thoughts out.
My book took me 10 years to write, and it was fiction, but it was very personal, and it was about a topic that I was really wrestling with internally. And I think it helped to just start writing and rework it and rework it and rework it until it felt ready enough. And, it never feels totally perfect, but I finally got it to a point where I was like, okay, this is ready to share. And I put it out there. And just as Janine said, people were very receptive to it and said, oh, this is finally somebody has said what I've been thinking. Somebody is talking about what I've been wrestling with. And it was so powerful. And I really connected with a lot of people through that. But I felt like I was being compelled, like I was being dragged through this process. Like, you must write this book.
Awesome.
Carol Vincini.
Well, I wrote the draft for my first book in 3 weeks, but what I did was, I'm ADD, so hyperfocus is both a strength and a struggle. The mailed 6 to about 10 I just wrote. And now that you've gotten it off your chest, go back and start working. And in 9 months, actually, the book was published.
So
From
depends on what you're doing. And Carol is with us in The Right Habit. And so if you choose to join us, then you and she can chat about that. But I'd like to introduce you guys to somebody very, very special. She was the very first person who ever asked me about my own personal journey when it came to finding my voice. And so Doreen Downing is not only an amazing author and psychologist, and she also has a podcast called Find Your Voice, Change Your Life. And her birthday's coming up and the launch of book number 2. So there's a lot going on with Doreen that's all very exciting. But when it comes to finding your voice as a writer, so Doreen, go ahead and talk to us a little bit about all of that.
Well, that's a great introduction, because I was remembering way back when, Nicole. Ooh, I went to a workshop at Mount Shasta. If you're in California, you know that that's a very sacred mountain, and it was a retreat. And I had that same question. What do I have to say? I wanted to actually write about my own personal journey, finding my voice, what that meant to me. And Trevor, I have a system, so that eventually it became a system. But one of the exercises that the workshop leader did was to have us go out into the mountain and just wander around and find some spot that called us, where you just wanted to be and sit with it. Ooh, I'm remembering it right now. And it was a meadow, long open meadow, and there was a stream running through. And I just went to the stream and I sat by the stream and I felt, ooh, look at the water. It's just rippling, and it's kind of like what words do. They just keep flowing. And when we all met back there, I was told that and maybe Janine knows this, I don't know, but it was some system where water is what speaks to authors. What I did, I just kept going back and finding streams, waterfalls. I mean, I didn't run my sink, but but when I think about writing again, it's like I love that sense of just immersing myself in the sense of water bubbling through me. And those are the words, just keeps on flowing, keeps on flowing. And it was so inspiring. So I would just offer that as what inspires you? Where do you feel most inspired? And just relax into that particular time and allow, because I needed words to come up. I didn't need to think. I had a PhD in psychology. I had enough thinking. Oh, which reminds me of the other way I did my PhD dissertation was there's some kind of method where you only write for 30 minutes. You could write longer if you want, but make a deal with yourself to just sit down only for 30 minutes. So those are the two thoughts I have about readiness and writing.
And Crystal, I don't know where you are, and you may not be able to speak with where you are, but you're also in the right habit. And I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to chime in with.
Why, good morning. And I'm so glad you called on me, because I do. Nicole. And actually, I'm sitting out here because it's like really early here. But here's the full moon if you guys want to see what it's like here over the ocean.
From Maui.
Yes. I didn't realize it was so dark you wouldn't be able to see me.
That's okay.
But Nicole, that emotional connection, the book that I wrote, raised a really good Catholic from North Dakota. And then here my life took a twist. Journey connected me with dolphin energy and a whole bunch of other different things. And so my story to share was connecting with dolphin energy, which I knew was like basically going to get me kicked out of the family. Not really, but it felt like I was going to be kicked out of the family because of just all of the stuff that was my honest truth. And what I found, and Janine, thank God for her, because I like to get the emotional part in the way first, but the emotional connection to the story, there's so many layers to it. There's a separation, right? There's your story or whatever you need to share. And there's your emotional connection to that, which that's just getting it out. But everybody is sharing. Just get it on paper, just get it on a computer, just get it out so that it's not in you, it's out. And then the other emotional connection that you kind of work through along the way as you get it out. And then when you go back to do the edits, the other emotional connections that you have to different things about it going into the world is what just naturally unfolds. But it's very different than the emotional connection to the story. And it's really important to just get your story out of you so you can at least start separating and then opening the door to work through all the other emotions that are connected to whatever's happening. My book, I thought I'd have it done in like 6 months at the most. Like I was ready to be done with it. Like Carol said, in 3 weeks, I just wanted it to be done. And then the emotional layers that it went to, it took me 2.5 years just because of the emotional layers that I couldn't rush. I had to take it one day at a time. And so Carolyn, when you say it took 10 years, it's like, yeah, but it's all about your healing, your journey, your process. And had I not gone through the patience and the work of working through those emotional connections, I don't feel like I could be sitting here in Maui living my dream as my authentic self. So that's my thoughts on the emotional connection to your story.
But I have questions about the new send out cards process
The
because
new send out cards process.
I saw that and I'm like, help.
Okay. Okay. So actually that's what the open coffee is for, send out cards as well.
Yeah.
Because I ran out of time. Yeah. So we also have weekly trainings now, and I host those every Thursday at 3 o'clock. And so I will send you the link